Thank you for joining us today. Today's about our security awareness training that we're doing. So, what short little webinar that we're one in a series, and we'll talk about the series later on. But what we wanted to do for a number of our customers is let them know about some of the security issues that we're seeing, and that would be helpful for you to be aware of as as you continue to go about your day. So for the agenda today, we're going to talk about some of the driving forces behind cybersecurity, what we're doing today, driving forces, what we're doing, types of attacks, tools and resources, and then we'll do some questions and answers. As I'm sure most of you know, Frank Valdivieso is our president, CEO. He's got 30 years of IT experience. He likes to say that means he started when he was 5 years old. It always makes me laugh whenever he says that. But I've got 20 years of IT experience. I work as a strategist here with Griffin Consulting, and I also help with a lot of the nonprofits, helping to make sure that we get them migrated over to Microsoft, as well as doing a lot of Dynamics implementations. So why are we here today? We're here today because as more and more people begin to do telecommuting and hybrid, that opens up our organizations to more threats than ever before, both because of just the timing from it being 2022 to working decentralized. We have a lot more things to worry about than we have in the past. And as you can see here, cyber threats are increasing. They are going up. In researching this, one of the things that I found very, very interesting and also kind of terrifying is that it's a full-on market. Everything from there's a group of people that go around and just create the code. They just create the code that they can sell. There's a group of people, there's a whole nother layer of people that take that code and will work to and put it on your system. Once it's on your system, there's a whole nother group of people that come in and actually can potentially do ransomware. It's a very level, if their ingenuity can be put to good use, the world will be better. But it's something that we all need to worry about, something we need to be thinking about, because it is so it is so prevalent today's day and age. So we're going to talk about some of these types of attacks. Some of these will be new for people, some of them be old hat. But it's always good to have a good reminder of what we're talking about when we talk about cybersecurity threats and how you can help and what you can do about them. So the oldie but a goodie, if you can put it that way, is the computer virus. We've had the computer virus for as long as probably most of us can remember. As it goes on your computer, it replicates itself and spreads from one computer to another. As you'll see, this is similar to malware, but the difference here is these are less invasive as to your privacy and what have you. These aren't necessarily as damaging to your computer. Now, what happens is that usually we have a antivirus that'll look for these, but it's always good to know these, and we'll see why later on. And obviously, there's precautionary steps. Don't open attachments. Not opening attachments, not clicking on links from unsolicited sources, and making sure you trust who you get emails from. Malware, as I said before, malware is very much like computer viruses, although it has a lot more sinister in nature. It tends to be a little bit more trying to grab your information. It tends to be a little bit more watching what you do, your keystrokes when you're putting in passwords and things like that. Malware tends to be a lot more damaging, and at the very least leads to more damaging. Email spoofing. This is the one that I'm sure a lot of us have started to see. I'm on the board of a nonprofit, and It's the Centers for Watershed Protection. And what's really fascinating is that every so often I get an email from the chair requesting gift cards because he's stuck and doesn't have he doesn't have the ability to reach his bank account. But if I could send him a gift card, then he would be able to finish what he's doing, and then he would pay me back later. That's the kind of thing that happens when your email gets spoofed. Someone is able to get your email address, spoof it, and send something out on your behalf. You'll see it from, like I said, someone's asking gift cards, someone's the IRS, banks, or credit card companies. They'll always be a little off. The thing you always need to be mindful of when you're looking at emails is, first and foremost, do we trust the sender? Why would your bank or the IRS be sending you a credit card, or your IRS or your bank sending you this email? Is this the time when they would send you that email? Is it for that communication? Um, check the especially when it's out of time, it's not the time where you're expecting conversations. Check to make sure the email address itself is correct. Sometimes it's off and it has I got one today um trying to spoof me to myself, telling me that I had a fax waiting for me. Um I would be really highly surprised if I actually had a fax waiting for me for anything. Uh, Internet usage and shopping. Here again, these are things, as we're going to talk a lot about, that make sense. Don't shop at a site if you're not comfortable with them. Make sure you trust them. This next one's a little harder, and for us, it's even difficult, right? Don't use your work laptop for personal use. This just is good digital hygiene on that one. The other thing you want to do when you're looking at shopping, specifically when you're looking on internet usage at all, and especially when you're shopping, is you want to look for that HTTPS at the top left corner. Most of us remember when we first started using and going to websites, you have the HTTP colon backslash backslash www, right? We spent all that time making sure that we had the www and the HTTP. Um, Now just take a quick glance, make sure that has the HTTPS at the top. It's very simple. It allows you to know that basically what that is, it's secure. The S was for secure, and it allows you to understand that they have a secure certificate on there that help protect your information. Um, Here's also a good one that we'll talk about some more later, but make sure you have a secure connection. I know it's easy, but if you're gonna go out and you're gonna go to, let's say, Panera Bread, or you're gonna go someplace and you're gonna use the Wi-Fi, try and make sure it's their actual Wi-Fi. Don't just assume. Uh, I know people who've gone on and assumed that the Panera Bread open password, with no password, is the one that they should be using. Not so much. That one could be anybody can set that up. If you have a hotspot on your phone, I can set up my password. I mean my network ID to be anything, and no password. And next thing you know, you're on my network, and then I can begin to filter and steal your data. So make sure you get the right one with the right password. Also, we'll talk about, like I said, using a LastPass for stronger passwords. And if you can, being careful who has admin privileges on your primary PC. Um, Talking about mobile devices. I'm sorry. Have I raised your hand if I'm going too fast for anybody? I know I'm going through this very, very quickly. Does all this make sense to everybody? Raise your hand if you got a question. If I lost you, see, I got a thumbs up there. Any other thumbs up? Everybody okay? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so making sure I'm going at the correct speed. I don't want to. Sometimes when I talk, to do these so often, sometimes I feel as if I speed through it and just mow people over. Um, so mobile devices. First and foremost, they're going to be pretty much like the last few that we talked, but now we're talking about a couple of more interesting ones. First and foremost, I'm sure we've all gotten text message from people we don't know. And it's easy, right? Because now it's even easier because someone texts you. I'm sure, raise your hand if you've ever gotten a text message that says, hey, is this Andy? Or hey, this is Alice. Yeah, I get those all the time. You just got to ignore those. If you don't know those people, just ignore those. Um, sometimes I sometimes I say leave me alone just for fun because but don't ever follow those links. I also get those for my condo. I always get every so often someone sends me a text about my condo saying they have a report for me to read. I don't know who they are, how they got my name, and so there's no reason for me to read it anyways. But I know that link is suspect. Um, I know that that link is really highly suspect. Um, Also, of course, you want to try and download your apps from the official app store, so the Apple Store, Android, etc. You want to make sure, and they go through, and the reason, I mean, obviously, we talk about doing it because those are the official means, but what's really important to know is that the reason we say that, the reason we suggest that is because those organizations do a lot of work to protect their network. So, um, like Frank right now is in Seattle at the Microsoft Cyber Bunker, I guess. I forget what the official name is, but he's there at their cyber bunker. He goes every year and they have, just like you would at NASA with multiple screens and people, looking and detecting um, threats worldwide. So places like Microsoft and Apple and Android, they do a lot of work to protect you. So we got to make sure we're taking advantage of those. So now the social engineering, this one has actually been a little even more interesting. Again, from a like, whoa, I gotta watch out. Um, obviously we've heard of these phishing emails that are trying to get you, but don't leave your password where it can be found. I think that one's I think we're pretty well ready for that one. This one is really fascinating because so Griffin almost got taken advantage on this one. We had someone came to us with an opportunity for around, I think it was 1,000, no, 100 Surface devices. The email looked correct. We reviewed it. Now at a Surface device, at the ones that they suggested they wanted, it was about $1,000, so it's $100,000 deal. Griffin, Frank and I were looking like, wow, this is really fantastic, right? But we would ultimately, obviously I'm having this conversation with everybody, so you see where this is going. But they're playing on our desire to make a business opportunity. And so what saved us though was that in looking at it, they were going to offer us, they said, well, we know it's a big deal. And so if you need some financing, we have a bank. And we're like, no, we got a bank. I'm like, okay. Looking at it, ended up, we realized we didn't know these people again, like you do. Even though we had saw the website, we saw the email looked great. We ended up calling the person because we were like, this is a real big deal. We'd like to know who you are. Sure enough, person didn't know what we were talking about. So it's just something like that was just due diligence. Like, okay. So that's what they talk about the social engineering, playing on, what you're hoping to get. That's when someone will spoof your email, for example, and knowing that you work for a nonprofit or a church and wanting to provide you with services that they know that you were probably looking for. So you have to be mindful. Um, So as you can see, you don't want to follow the instructions provided by unknown entities, right? So that's what that's what we messed up. That's what we started to do. Luckily, we played it all out. But you definitely don't want to follow it from unknown people. And then the last one was using screensavers, but that one can. So here's one of the other things I'm sure that you've either heard about or potentially seen is you go to a website, you click on something, and next thing you know, it's saying you're infected. It'll come up with a window like this where it'll say the screen, it's scanning antivirus, Microsoft, someone's scanning your system, and then sure enough, right after that, they'll say, hey, you got 48 viruses, 10 malware on your system. Here's one of those things where you can tell, there's an error in the top left. It says error. That's the suspicious email. They're urging you to do something. There's spelling mistakes. If you ever get something like this, please give us a call immediately. We can help rid you of this. The other thing I like to tell people about something like this is just to understand that, again, we talk about social engineering. When you get something like this is that kind of that old, when we all think of that old like used car salesman. You gonna buy? You gonna buy? You gonna buy? They do the same thing here, right? It'll pop up. You're infected. You're infected. You're infected. You're infected. Do something. Do something, right? So that's why you see here, right? You better do something because it's gonna, there's gonna be a hard drive safety delete in 5 minutes. That wouldn't happen. So we talked about a lot of the things that are coming up and coming your way all the time. And I know it seems like a lot and as if it's potentially insurmountable when you're going through your day, just going through Word and trying to collaborate. But first and foremost, we talked about it's easy, hey, I'm not expecting an email from this person. Maybe that's not something I want. I'm not expecting an attachment from this person, or it looks a little suspicious because my CEO wants a gift card. But for a simple and effective way, the first thing is to back up your systems. Um, Back it up at least once a day, and regular restores to test your backups. This is pretty simple. We can help you out, and it doesn't take much time. It's all in the back end. The backups on the back end. Try saying that. Um, and what will happen is just you need to we capture your data. And I mean, we all know the good about it, but as we talk more and more about ransomware and people stealing your data, it's really effective to know that on some level, if they took your data, you could always get it right back, and you wouldn't have to pay anybody, especially when it's about a day. And there's even some systems, if you want, we can back it up 3 or 4 times a day to make it nice and easy for you. Again, still simple and effective. Let's configure Microsoft Intune for you. Again, if after all this, I'm gonna have my information. Um, we can have a conversation with your organization specifically about Intune, what it does and how it works. It allows you to remove data. Let's say you lose a laptop or something is stolen, you can lose it. You can restrict who can connect into your systems as well. So if you just have someone who wants to connect a hard drive, we can say no. And how you treat that data. Those are the easy ones. Has anybody here, can I get a thumbs up or clap of some kind, has heard of the LastPass password manager? Try saying that 3 times fast. All right, so Samantha's heard of it. All right. Cheryl. Okay, excellent. So for everybody else, just let you know, LastPass password manager, um, is a one password to control all your passwords. Very, very effective. it allows you to create that one crazy password to get in there. And then it actually will help when you're on a site that requires a new password, it will help create one and it stores it for you. So then when you're ready to go back to that website, you can just access your LastPass and then it'll put it in there for you. That helps you out, right? Because we all know that every time you go to a new site, there's a new, what is it? You got to have it capitalized, a lowercase, right? You have to have capitalized, lowercase, a symbol, a number, and 8 characters, right? That's hard to remember when you go from site to site, bank to, to accounting to whatever. It's very difficult. So having a LastPass software set up on your system is one way to just worry about the one password you got to worry about. Um, Multi-factor authentication. Here's another one that's really big lately, that is really found to be really great with security. And you hear it a lot. It's the two-factor or multi-factor, depending on how people discuss it. But what that is, that's that when you sign in and then an email comes to you or a text message comes to you and it'll provide you with a code that you have to put into the next step. That's when people talk about multi-factor or two-factor authentication. Um, Personal security training like we're doing right now is really great. If you really want to get into security, because that's just your thing and you're loving every one of this, subscribe to that website there. And that'll help you, really stay in the know and up to date on security issues. If that's something you're excited about. And of course, we can always do a free network and security assessment for your organization, just to give you an idea where you are and where you need to go. Again, we will only want to use secure devices, and then the ransomware protection, having a private cloud, and that is, as you can see, private clouds are gaining in their usage. But I want to point out something that people often mistake when you talk about about having your own cloud. Whenever you use the cloud technology, with Google, Microsoft, Amazon, or whatever, but you've got to remember is that those cloud systems, their only thing that they will promise you officially is that they will allow you to continually access your data in the cloud. They do not necessarily promise that they will secure your data. They suggest that you secure your own data. However you do it, that's up on you. Um, you can put it in Azure, you can have other third-party backup systems. Again, we help you with that. Uh, but whatever organization you're in, you should definitely be looking at backing it up. You should definitely be, because Microsoft doesn't do it for you. You're just in the cloud. Cloud is just access. Additionally, if you have the opportunity, if you're traveling, we can help you set up a VPN network that'll help you go right into your system if you need to. Um, you may not need it because everything is in the cloud and gives you access, but depending on your systems that you're trying to access, it's definitely something that we can help you with. And then one of the last things that's really, really important is that Microsoft nor Griffin will never send you an email to reset your password or tell you your password is expiring. That's not something we do. Uh, what that means is if you need to reset your password, that's something we'll be on a call with you. Don't expect to see Griffin sending you, oh no, this is happening. Do it now, push this button. That's not, that's not the way, again, that's that social engineering that we talked about. So how to get help? You can schedule an appointment, you can send an email, or you can call us. We are very, very, it's very, very easy to get a hold of us. We're out here. We're here to help you. Um, we want to make sure that you have what you need, so that way you can do you can go about your everyday business. Any questions? You will raise your hand. I can unmute you and you can ask some questions. I know this was very fun for everybody. Carla, I know you saw you said a thumbs up. Do you have a question as well, or you just want to say this is a thumbs up? And I can unmute you. Yeah, you're yeah.
Yeah, no, just thank you for the presentation. That was a thumbs up for it.
Can you say more about jailbreak security? Sure. So for just to catch up, so when in the chat, Nina asked about jailbreak. So jailbreak is, just to make sure everybody we all understand, is that when, let's say I have the easiest way to look at it is that, let's say I have a iPhone. I love the iPhone, but I don't want to be on Apple. I hate Apple. So what I do is I break into they call it jailbreak. So you break into the system, and I want to put in, the Google Android on my phone. Well, usually about the time someone's doing that, it's about the time that you don't necessarily want them on your network, right? so, so same with Android. If someone's breaking in, and because what will happen is, not only is that just, you typically don't want that person on your network, but now all the security that's specifically designed for that device is now you don't have an opportunity to take advantage of, right? You don't have that opportunity because what Apple has is specifically for Apple. So if you have a device on there that is that someone jailbroken, I guess that's the right, is this the right tense of the word? But once you have that, then all the security that was for the Apple device is no longer good. And so what happens is, like I said, you don't want that system, because now that system is more susceptible to security breaches. And now when you plug that into your device, you now are in a position where it can really it's a vulnerability vector that can really cause your network harm. Does that make sense, Nina? I can unmute you. No problem. So before we go, then, unless we have another question. Okay. So before we go, I just want to let everybody know we're going to have another seminar next month. It's going to be on Surface as a Service, and it'll be on Wednesday the 13th. And you'll get another email like you did for this one. Surface as a Service, just to let you know, is that the ability for you to switch out your Surface devices quickly and promptly. So if you have a device that goes down, we can send you another one. You can log in and all your information's there. That allows for you to really not have to, or if someone, like we talked about before, if you lose a device, you can get it back quick. You can get all your information, wipe the other device, and now you're up and running. And it's both from a security as well as an ease of devices. And so we'll go over some of that next month. So with that, I'm officially done. I appreciate everybody coming on. I'm going to turn my camera back on now. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day.